Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Miketz. One of the most important character traits a person must acquire for themselves is sensitivity towards other people's feelings. There is no excuse for insulting or embarrassing someone else. This week's Sedra highlights Yosef's sensitivity towards his brothers and acts as a lesson for eternity for all of us. At the end of this week's Sedra, we read of Yosef seeing his brother Binyamin. As God wrote, looking about, he saw his brother Binyamin, his mother's son, and asked, "Is this your youngest brother of whom you spoke to me?" And he went on, "May God be gracious to you, my boy." With that, Yosef hurried out, for he was overcome with feeling towards his brother and was on the verge of tears. He went into a room, and that is where he wept. Then he washed his face, reappeared, and now in control of himself, gave the order, "Serve the meal." Rashi wrote that the phrase, "now in control of himself," meant that Yosef made a strong effort to gather his will together. Juxtapose the description of Yosef's reaction to the description of the reaction he had in next week's Parsha when Yosef admitted his true identity to his brothers. The same word is used for both descriptions, but there seems to be a difference according to Rashi. As God wrote, Yosef could no longer control himself before all of his attendants, all of his servants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave me." So there was no one else about when Yosef made himself known to his brothers. He didn't want any of the Egyptians there. Rashi wrote, Yosef could not bear that the Egyptians would stand by witnessing how his brothers would be put to shame when he made himself known to them. The Ramban explained Yosef's second description in a more consistent manner with the first reaction. He wrote, "There were many people from Paro's house and other Egyptians standing there who were begging Yosef to pardon Binyamin because they were overwhelmed with pity for Binyamin when they heard Yehuda's pleas to Yosef. Yosef couldn't strengthen himself and resist all of them. He said to his servants to have everyone leave, and he'll speak to the brothers privately." As they left the room, the Egyptians could hear Yosef begin to cry. Yosef's reaction demonstrates the need to be careful with other people's feelings. This is emphasized in Pirkei Avos. Rabbi Elazar of Modi'in said, if a man puts his fellow to shame publicly, even though he has knowledge of the Torah, he has good deeds, and he's done well, he has no share in the world to come. Rav Avadja Bar Tanura has a fascinating comment to explain what happens when a person is shamed publicly. He wrote that a person's soul has two facets. One is internal and one external. When a person is insulted, the blood quickly rushes to their face, turning red. And as the offense set in and they can't get rid of the embarrassment, the person's face turns white. Whether or not Rav Avadja understood the science correctly, he lived about 800 years ago, his point of two stages of embarrassment teaches an important lesson. Shame cannot be understood on one plane. It must be seen as multidimensional. A person can handle an insult and take offense, but like most toxins, a person excretes the offense from their system before it causes too much damage. There are some insults that are so hurtful that the psyche cannot expel them. They take root deep down. These are the words that doom the offender to lose his future eternally. Yosef's concern with his brother's feelings and his inability to stand by calmly while his brothers were vulnerable and embarrassed. His concern should act as a model to the rest of us. It isn't enough to simply be careful with other people's feelings, but the next level of concern, where other people's feelings actually affect our own feelings, are required. It's an important lesson and so essential for all of us. Shalom.